Hey guys, so because of a joke a friend made to me, I wanted to do today's video on the myth of carbohydrates being bad for you, and specifically being body fat promoting uniquely compared to any other food. Now, I want to post this one to Instagram, and I'm going to do a full-length one because I tried several takes of this. I've been like pacing, getting my steps in for the past 40 minutes with multiple failed recordings. Ramble too long. Gonna post this short one on Instagram. Now, not a doctor, not a dietitian. Always consult an actual dietitian before making any sort of like serious diet plan, especially if you have any sort of like metabolic conditions like diabetes. But some general information for you. So, carbohydrates, one, do they make you store more body fat? No. Calories, calories equated, high carb, low carb, no carb diets, replace them with fat. Can't do like no fat diets. Well, you could, but really bad for your health because you need fats and protein, but you don't technically need carbs. Equate for calories, and fat loss essentially remains the same. Why? Because at the end of the day, body fat is just a storage for energy. If you eat, or food, we can put it, if you eat less than you need to get through a given day, your body has to use that fat to get through the day. Now, if you eat more than you need to get through the day, you will store some of it. At the end of the day, it just comes down to that. How much you eat, your individual genetics, hormones, stuff like that will affect that. It'll affect how hungry you feel. It will affect how active you are, especially in relation to the overall calorie count. But ultimately, when they test this in a actual metabolic chamber where they know exactly how much energy people are using and know exactly how much they're giving them, at the end it doesn't matter. You'll see a little bit more weight loss from a low carb diets because you lose a ton of water weight, because every gram of carbs holds I think 4 grams of water or something like that. But that's not fat loss, which is what most people are interested in. Now, another myth is a high fat, low carb diet better for losing weight because, you're using more fat? No, because if diesel's all you're putting in your engine, yeah, of course the engine is going to use more diesel than anything else. Now, also, sure, you might also burn more body fat during that because your body might use more actual stored fat than sugars, because you don't have any sugars in you, well, as much, to move around and everything. But that's not what matters. Remember, it's about that balance at the end of the day. If I burn more body fat for energy, but then I'm also taking in a ton of fats, at the end of the day, that fat is just going to go back into those cells and replace it. So ultimately, it doesn't matter as long as the calories are equated for. And again, assuming different keto diets and stuff like that are fine if you like them, they're not necessary. They're not magically fat loss promoting. Now, are carbs bad for you in other ways? Again, assuming no medical conditions or anything. Not really. There's a lot of carb sources are super healthy. Fats, vegetables, whole grains, those are all really high in fiber, which is good for gut health, therefore a ton of other stuff like mental health and everything. Fiber is good for blood sugar, your heart health, all sorts of good stuff, and makes you feel more full. There are different whole food carb sources are an excellent source of just micronutrient nutrition, so vitamins and minerals. You get a ton of vitamins and minerals through oatmeal, whole grain pasta, so on and so forth. It's awesome. Now, blood sugar. This one is, again, not a dietitian, This one is a little bit more of a big concern for people than it should be, because, so there's something called the glycemic index. This is a measure of basically how quickly something will spike your blood sugar after eating. And very simple sugars, sugars are what make up carbohydrates. They're different chains of sugars of different complexity. The more complex, the longer it takes to break down. Simple ones will raise your blood sugar faster. Obviously, if I just drink a cup of just straight up sugar water, my blood sugar is going to go up higher than if I have an avocado, which is mostly fat. But the glycemic index is also, it's affected by the entire meal. So if a sugar, like any source that's paired with like proteins, fibers, and fats, that'll slow down the digestion of the food substantially, therefore lower the glycemic index, so you have a more even blood sugar through the day. So that can have different effects, like on your, like how full you feel, how quickly, like how long until you're hungry again, how stable your energy levels are, so on and so forth, and individual stuff. Now, blood sugar is also very heavily affected just by overall calories, because fats and proteins affect it too. Your blood sugar might not look great if you overeat by 2,000 calories of like sugar, or you overeat by 2,000 calories of like, I don't know, oils and nut butters and all of that. It's still like, again, not a doctor, I can't give you an exact idea of what the difference might be. It's probably individual, but neither is like overeating by a shocking amount, barring medical recommendation, not a good idea for health overall. But carbohydrates aren't uniquely bad for you. Let's talk about some of where this might come from though. So simple carbs get some bad rap because there's stuff like Skittles, Smarties, like soda, stuff like that, that's easy to overconsume. And it's probably rightfully so. People have a little bit of a anxiety towards these. Anxiety is not a good word. Anxiety towards food, probably not a good idea. It's good to practice temperance with those types of things. But cutting down on some of those is an easy way to cut down on overall calories. But first off, again, like I just touched on, they're not going to uniquely make you like obese or anything. If I typically have like a bowl of cereal or something during the day, or like I allow myself 200-300 calories when I'm not like dieting or anything, of just kind of whatever I want. It might be a mocha, it might be cereal, whatever. And I'm not the most ripped person alive, but I think I'm at a pretty decent body fat percentage. And I'm very, very healthy. My blood work's excellent. And I'm supremely physically active, and I feel great, minus the mental health stuff, which has always been there. So, but the thing is that I was about to touch on about overconsumption of calories is that carbs, even simple ones, aren't the number one cause here. Because if I asked you, if I told you to eat 1,000 extra calories of rice, white rice, no, let's take fiber out of this, 1,000 calories of just straight up white rice on its own in a sitting, could you? Some of you maybe. Some of you are probably lying to yourself and you're thinking you could because you've had fried rice or whatever. Most of you probably not on its own. Or at least it wouldn't be super fun and you wouldn't be eating a lot the rest of the day. But, or heck, better one, 1,000 calories of just potato. Yeah, probably not. But now let's change that to fries. How many of you could eat 1,000 calories of French fries? Probably a lot of you, or at least like several hundred calories. it becomes a lot more doable. 1,000 calories of donuts, I mean, heck, that's anywhere from like 2 to 4 donuts, and you're there. Why is that? These are combinations of fats and carbs that make them add on top of that any sort of other like flavorings, salts, other like flavoring agents and such. They make them what's called highly palatable foods. Or basically they're foods that are not very satiating. They can be eaten quickly, and they are super, super high in calories. So you're pretty much how it works is if you take a bite of ice cream, your taste buds taste a lot of glucose, which the body likes. It's good, like the brain can use it. It's a readily available energy source for your musculature, so on and so forth. Body likes it, very quick to digest and everything. It tastes the fat along with that, and it loves that too, because fat is extremely energy dense. It is 9 calories per gram, which is more than double the 4 for carbs and protein. So it loves fat because you can just eat it and it's like a just ton of energy right there. And this is a good thing. This is why this kind of response is why you're around right now, because your like great grandparents or whatever, they didn't starve in the winter, partly because they had enough like stored fat on them to get through. If you didn't have that, if humans were just natural, or any animals really pretty much were just naturally or any mammals were naturally just shredded like 3, 5, 6 whatever percent body fat all the time, it looks cool and all that, and it's not, except for the female athlete triad issue, it's not bad for you for the most part. But second that you have a bad winter or something, you're just out for the count. So those kinds of foods are things that should be treated with respect. Can you still have them? Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I sometimes have like cereal that has milk in it. I'll have a like milkshake here like every once in a while, or ice cream and stuff like that, sugar and fat. I just allow for it, and I don't keep it in the house. Though, like foods that are high in fat and sugar, at the same time, any food that you can like overeat the crap out of, those are the ones you should be cautious of. Not just carbs in general. You don't have to count carbs. You don't have to be scared of them or anything. They can be a great part of your meal plan. They're really good for athletes. There's a reason hardly any like high performing athletes are going to be keto. There's going to be some, there's exceptions, but for the most part, if you are like, if you're training for hours a day, you probably want some carbs in you. So anyway, that video went longer than I expected. I did kind of try to make it at least get the point across pretty quickly, even though I went off on a tangent there. I just hope it was pretty informative. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And until next time, I'm out.